Now we arrive at the end of the NES era for the Mario series, with the plumber's last outing on the system. This game was kind of a big gamble for Nintendo, with the amount of money they sunk into it, and how long it took to complete. It took over 2 full years in the oven to have a product they were happy to sell. And while that sounds reasonable by today's standards, back in the late 80s, the average development time was around 6 to 12 months, less than half what Mario 3 took. But you can't say the risk didn't pay off. Releasing in 1988 for the Famicom, only a few weeks after the Western release of Mario 2, it resulted in that game being pushed back by quite a while elsewhere. 1990 was when it released in North America, and 91 for Europe. Mario 3 was a massive success, even before its Western release, becoming the second bestseller in 88 and overall bestseller in 89. And after its localization, it had sold 14 million by 1995, which is really impressive for a game that was technically 2 console generations behind by that point. And I have very little personal history with this game, so all I can really do is head on in and take it for a spin. As we are back to games that weren't shameless reskins, the story is back to normal as well, so we'll just move on by that. But what I can't ignore is how this game looks for its time. It looks so much better than the rest of the games on NES. I know I'm only showing All-Stars footage, but the NES version looks lovely for 8-bit hardware. Standing side by side, it's hard to believe these only a few years apart on the same system. The characters and enemies are nicely animated, backgrounds aren't completely empty, although that does still happen sometimes, and the sprite work overall defines how Mario should be in an 8-bit environment. It is probably one of the better looking games on the NES. Even aside from the quality of the sprite art, each world has its own unique feel and aesthetic. Grass plains, desert, the sky, lava, and the giant world, where everything's massive. Yeah, these world themes get used a lot now with the new Super Mario Bros. Series, but that's not a flaw with Mario 3 itself. The soundtrack is something I find personally very hit or miss. I don't think it's a bad soundtrack, not at all. I just don't find a lot of them very memorable. But when it hits, man does it hit. I love both Overworld themes the Grassland and Pipe Maze tracks, and the Mario Bros. Battle theme is another favourite. Oh, and the warp whistle? I guess this is part of my Zelda retrospective after all. The game itself takes the core of Mario 1's gameplay and just improves on every aspect of it. To start with, the worlds have more levels than Mario 1 and Lost Levels, usually 8, but can be around 10 or 12. Although while there are more levels in number, the actual stages feel shorter than earlier games. I don't think they are necessarily, but often feels like a stage ends right before it's about to get going. That isn't always the case though, because with more stages, more gimmicks have been thrown in to keep the player on their toes, such as maze levels and auto-scrollers. And while usually limited to 1 or 2 per world, the auto-scrolling itself still sucks dick. You can never predict what's coming up next, and they take forever to clear. Same with the mazes, but for more so being about trial and error. You can usually tell what's going to be an auto-scroller just by the world map. Flying airships, tanks and planes signify one of them, and usually only appear at the end of the world or in the final area. And yes, for the first time in 2D Mario, we have a map screen. This allows you to choose what level you want to clear when, or if you want to skip some past stages if you aren't bothered about 100%. Additionally, if you get a game over, you are sent back to the start of the world, which sucks, but at certain points you'll find checkpoints that you can use to open up areas to other parts of the map, allowing you to bypass levels you've already cleared. Ideally, if you game over, you can just restart the level I'm already at, but this was 1988, so I'm expecting some archaic design. But where this game shines is in its level design. Every normal platforming stage is simply just a playground for Mario and his abilities. Mario himself feels better here than before. He's not as slippery, and his momentum feels just right, so I don't find myself missing jumps as often as I used to. Most levels are a breeze to get through with Mario's updated control and movement. In addition to simply feeling tighter to control, Mario is now spotting the P meter, which fills up as Mario runs consistently for a short period. At max P, Mario goes into a full sprint, which is a hell of a lot faster and gives a higher jump. If you fill the meter when equipped with the Super Leaf, it even gives Mario the ability to fly, which makes some levels a total breeze. Speaking of the Super Leaf, it's one of the new power-ups you have access to, which turns Mario into Raccoon Mario, letting him slow descents, fly as I said, and tail attack, which can also break some blocks. You also have the Frog Suit, which is really only useful underwater, the P-Wing, which is similar to Super Leaf, only you can fly forever and can become an indestructible statue, and the High Brother suit is a better version of the Turning Fire Flower, but is also pretty scarce. So, with all that support, Mario is pretty well equipped for the journey ahead. This isn't a particularly hard game, but some levels can be quite the test. Looking at you, World 8 auto-scrollers. Regardless, you shouldn't be starving for lives too often. At the end of every level, you hit this block that acts like the wheel of a slot machine. Match up the icons and you can start raking in the lives. You can also win some lives and power-ups from these minigames you can find offered sporadically across the game world. Bosses though, don't really stand out. Yeah, they're better than Mario 1's, but that's like saying tea with milk is better than tea without. They are really nothing special. You'll spend no time on these compared to the level just before it. Even the final boss is still pretty easy. And much like the bosses, the enemies don't really stand out either. It's mostly variants on enemies already seen before, with a unique trait, like flying Goombas or High Brothers but with boomerangs instead. It's not all bad though. We've got chain jumps and thwomps from this game, which is something new to look at. Mario 3's overall impact on the series is really quite large. It allowed for more creative freedom in themes and aesthetic, which would be crucial in games like Super Mario World and 3D games like Sunshine or Galaxy, not to mention the world map is a key part in later 2D games, and Mario 3 as a whole was inspiration for the new Super Mario Bros. Series. The Tanuki suit has since got its own item in Mario Kart and was a main selling point of Super Mario 3D Land. It's one of the few NES games that I don't believe is horribly dated in a major way. Mario 3 is something I definitely recommend, but with that said, the princess is rescued and the game's over. Or is it? Yes, back in 2003, Mario 3 was re-released for the GBA, hence the weird aspect ratio. This version adds a bunch of content for the addition of World E. The Nintendo e-reader was the GBA accessory that allowed players to scan in cards for additional content and goodies in some games, sometimes even full games like Ice Climber and Donkey Kong. Think Amiibo, but incredibly janky. Super Mario Bros. 3 got 38 additional levels in this form. Some old levels in the Mario 3 art style, some bringing gimmicks from other games, and a bunch of completely new levels. The Wii U and NSO ports include all of the e-reader content, making it the only way to access content officially now, especially as the e-reader itself never released in Europe, so no one here saw these levels. Unfortunately, the Wii U is dead, so the next best option is to play Mario All-Stars. I should probably talk about that before moving on, seeing as I'm done with it. Super Mario All-Stars is a 16-bit remake of all 8-bit Mario titles released in 1993 for the SNES, with a Wii re-release in 2010. Super Mario Bros. 1, Lost Levels 2 and 3 get the full SNES treatment, with better visuals, improved control, and remixed music. Okay, so if you're going to play classic Mario, use these remakes. They are almost perfect, one-to-one recreations of the original games, so you aren't missing anything by not playing the NES versions. Now, I can finally close the book on the NES portion of this Mario sprint, because for the last video in this series, I'll be moving to Super Nintendo with Super Mario World, and it's a title I'm excited to go back to, after playing it for the first time around 10 years ago. Thank you for watching, and good night.